What's going on, guys? How we doing out there? Back again, yet another Monday. What is up? What is happening? How was the weekend? Tell me some fun, exciting stuff. Not much here. Just pretty much worked. Did a little more of that kind of fun stuff. So switching up just a little bit today. Minor, but what I'm doing is actually I went, rather than the science and technology category, on Twitch, I bounced over to art since I am focusing on animation, right? So we'll see if that's a little more relevant or anyone even notices the difference. I don't know. But yeah, so I guess what I'll do is catch up on what happened on Friday, what we're doing now, and I guess a little, since I did change categories, in case someone's watching this for the first time, little context. Making a video game called Tribble Troubles, which is featuring Tribbles from Star Trek, which I actually have a license for. Partnering with David Gerald, who actually wrote the original screenplay, and his company Tribble Toys. So I actually have permission to use Tribbles, their likeness, the name, as well as Glommers, which came out of the animated Star Trek series. Lucini, here already. Welcome, buddy. How's it going, man? How was the weekend? Just giving the usual rundown. So yeah, if you know anything about Star Trek, you know that Klingons and Tribbles are natural enemies. So the Klingons actually genetically engineered Glommers to do one thing, and that's to eat Tribbles. You now have claustrophobia. That's great. But you played the full version and not the demo, I'm hoping this time, right? So yeah, Lucini's talked about the fact that the game is now actually available on Steam for free. Totally free. Yeah, the full version. Here you go. Links. There we go. You can actually, well, it's the wish list, but you can go to Steam. So I have the game up and loaded for free in playtest, right? Which means that you guys can download the game in its current form. It's getting closer to being done. And give it a playtest. And hopefully you don't get claustrophobia like Lucini did. It is kind of a cramped space kind of thing, at least in the beginning, when you're down in the underground cavern stuff. Only complaint that is very narrow, but other than that, it's real fun. Oh, thank you. Well, let's see. Are you still in the underground passageway? Because I mean, it opens up, right? You have the underground, then you have the canyon, and then you get into the jungle, which is much more open space, as well as spaceship. Yeah, still underground. Okay. Yeah, it starts off really narrow, and it's more of a linear path kind of progression, but the canyon, there's a little more space. Just because you're dealing with the sandworms, but once you make it up into the jungle, it's much more of a free roam with just, it almost looks like Joust levels, if you remember the video game Joust, right? Where these platform areas that you can leap from all over the place because you're getting chased by this ape, right? The worms, okay, yeah, that's the canyon. So you're at the second environment of 4 environments. And so yeah, hopefully it feels like there's a little more space in there than there is in the underground. The underground is very, very tight. You know, because that was mainly just sort of like as an introductory path guiding kind of thing. But as I say, when you get in the jungle, it's definitely much more open space. As well as the spaceship. You'll see that the platforms are much more spaced out. And it's a much more of a free roam kind of environment. But there you go. So yeah, so I was going to talk about this. So when I was here on Friday with you guys, I was still working on cutscene number 2, which is totally done. Pretty happy with it. I'll show you the finished product, actually. Let me bring this up. Alright, so here you go. Oh, mute. Is there no saving system, or did I miss something? There's really not a saving system per se. It's sort of designed as a one kind of, you know, like I said, I took inspiration from things like Spelunky, you know, and Downwell and Super Meat Boy. So it's more of a you go in one session kind of thing. Just because I wanted to sort of like boost the playtime, and if it's one of those things that you can just kind of pick up where you left off in each world, then you're gonna burn through the game much faster, right? And also because if you do have to backtrack, right, which you do if you're gonna reset the game. You'll find that you get better skilled, right, in terms of the jumping and the platforming and everything like that, which will mean that you play better in the later levels. So, you know, it may seem a little frustrating at first that I don't really have any kind of save system in that capacity, but it's you know, it'll make it that if you could just pick up right where you left off every time, yeah, every time you leave the game and come back in, you know, then you might find yourself more frustrated on some of the harder levels because you haven't like played as much and had as much practice. But in the individual play sessions, excuse me, anytime if you probably found this, that if you get bumped off, you can pick up right where you left off, right? So in that play session, right, if you're in like the second level of the canyons, right, and you die, you pick up right there in the second level of the canyons again, right, when you hit retry, you know. So, I mean, I think part of that is also because the game comes from sort of like more of the mobile side of the street, so to speak, you know, and so it's a little more like that kind of orientation, you know, more in a individual session versus a, you know, continued progression kind of thing. So, anyways, tell you what, I'll mute this for a second. Here you go. And this is the cutscene 2 with pretty much all the animation dropped in. If it'll play. There we go. Here we go.
The last piece of equipment is now on board, sir.
Terrific. Good riddance to that whole planet.
And the Tribble's back as well.
What?
It's back.
No.
Yes.
No! Lock the ship down!
Sir, it's just a Tribble.
Do it! Security, go floor to floor until you find and vaporize that mangy furball!
There we go. And then you go into the spaceship, which, if I fire that up for a second, should load. Yeah. So, nice animations are awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Well, I hope so, since animation has been the day job for a couple decades, but thank you. I appreciate that. But, yeah, so this is like one of the spaceship levels, and, you know, as you can see, it feels a little more spacious than what you're dealing with now in the underground kind of environment. So, anyways, that's what you have to look forward to if you push on. When you push on. Alright, so for that, we'll go ahead and tuck Unity away, since he served his purpose. Right, so now moving on to the third cutscene. And in this situation, what's happened is, excuse me, so as you saw, the Tribble got onto the ship. He gets inadvertently beamed back onto the ship for the second time. And now you've actually gone through the levels and you've actually dropped into the bridge, right? So at this point, I don't have any pieces here yet. This is in Maya, on the Maya side of things, so this is sort of bare bones. But, so the idea here is that the Tribble just kind of breaks through the ceiling and drops down into the bridge, and this is the captain's reaction here. Excuse me. This is just the dialogue, so there's no sound effects, there's no music. So it feels a little bare right now, but just bear with me. Here you go.
Ah, look who's here.
And then that's pretty much where I've finished. Because I just finished 2 and I just started on 3. So I'm just a little ways in. Excuse me. But, so, and then I haven't obviously touched her animation yet, but we're going to do extreme contrast where him, you know, he does this, you know, completely scaredy cat, pardon the pun, scrambles over there. And then you see there's like here, there's depth issues, but that's just temporary. That's something that obviously once I come into Unity, I'll be able to set the layer values so that the foot will go in front and not through the armrest. So, but yeah, he does this big panic mode and then he tries to get all cool again, right? And then for her, she'll basically just have like a bit of a flinch, right? Kind of like a half step back. You know, it's kind of like, what the? Okay, whatever, right? So even though it lands right in front of her, she'll have like a mild reaction. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and push on with him. And if you remember what I was doing before with the scene 2 cutscene, what I tend to do is animate the body pretty much all the way through and then come back as a second pass and then deal with the facial animation and the lip sync. So there's not going to be any of that for the time being. But we'll see how far we can get here in the hour or so that I'm going to hang. Uh-oh, did I just get rated? Wow. Darkstone just did a raid with 15 people. Thank you so much. I'm not sure why my alert didn't come up there. Did my alert break? I'll have to check that. But Darkstone, welcome, man. Hey, thanks for the raid. How's it going? How was your stream? How did it go for you? I appreciate the massive influx. Just modeling stuff today? Cool. All right. Texturing, all that. Texturing is my weakness. Absolutely. That's all the art you see here was actually created by incredibly talented artists, not myself. I'm a good animator. I've been doing that for a hell of a long time, but I'm an okay modeler, but I'm a real crap texture. So yeah, I'm actually using Maya to do 2D animation, which you may ask yourself why it looks like that. I saw the animation and said, oh yeah, thanks. You may ask yourself, wait, why is he using Maya to do 2D animation? Why not? There you go. It's a pain in the butt. It's the Z-depth issues just drive me nuts. But the key reason was because this particular game, which is now my 7th game, I started 2 years ago, right? And back then Spine really had no decent controls in terms of the graph editor. So I reluctantly made the choice to go with Maya, which I already have. This is Maya LT, right? Which is Maya without the render engine. And I've been using Maya for, God, so many years, and I have a license. So it was the ultimate choice. If I do 2D again, whenever I do 2D again, I would definitely go with Spine in the future. But yeah, Darkstone, what's new with you, man? Thanks for the raid, man. That was very, very cool. I appreciate that. So just the context here, I don't know if you picked up, I'm not sure when you dropped in, but the game is actually featuring Tribbles from the old Star Trek TV show, which, believe it or not, I actually do have a license for. I've partnered with David Gerald, who wrote the original screenplay, in his company, Tribble Toys, which allows me to use the Tribble likeness and the name, as well as Glommers, which came out of the animated Star Trek show, which were invented, genetically engineered by Klingons to eat Tribbles. So I have that, and that's pretty much the extent of my license, unfortunately. Hey! Killer Tofu did a follow. Thank you so much. Hey, so no, that did pop up. I'm not sure why the raid didn't pop up, but I did see it on the chat there. But yeah, Killer Tofu, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. Thanks. So that's the extent of my license. Well, okay, Tribbles, Glommers, and Quadraturticale, which, if you remember, that's the grain that the Tribbles were eating. So I have like the permission to use those 3 items, and that's the extent of it. So unfortunately, there's no Spock, there's no Kirk, Bones, Enterprise, that kind of stuff. So everything else I had to kind of invent out of whole cloth, unfortunately. But I still get to do a Tribble game. And then yeah, you can see right here, obviously the Tribble just kind of drops in, right? Nice little linear kind of thing, because for him, I already have the animations in Unity, so there's no reason to actually animate the furball itself, just as gross motions here. So any kind of impact here, you're not seeing yet. So I'm just kind of focusing on the captain, who obviously, as we've seen before, is a total scaredy cat. All right, try Zach. Right.
Look who's here!
All right, so I'm happy with this arm, and now what I'm going to do is push on with the left arm, kind of match that kind of performance that you see over here. And I am lazy, so I tend to key everything on the same and then adjust later. So, all right, so I'm going to match performance like so. Yeah, so I'll do the same thing here, where the fingers are going to kind of flay out and then go into that little fist pose. So I grab all my fingers there. If I can deselect him, thank you. Yeah, that should be good. All right, so let's come back. So I go wide here, like so. Like that. So, Darkstone, if you're still around, so what do you do for texturing? Are you just using Photoshop, or using like a ZBrush or 3D Code or something fancy like that? Substance Painter, that was next on my list. That's cool. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm very envious. That's the kind of my Achilles heel is always been the texturing. You know, I'm I've done it in the past when I had to, but it's just you use you cover the gamut, don't you? Maya, ZBrush, Substance, Photoshop as my core tool set. That's awesome, man. So you use Maya for the modeling side, I assume, right? You know, and just applying all the stuff that you do in ZBrush as well. Yeah, my wife just jumped into ZBrush. I've been trying to get her to do it for years. She's a phenomenal artist herself, and she, you know, now that she's starting to play with ZBrush, now she's totally hooked, right? She's doing it like crazy all the time now. But trying to get my wife into programming so I don't have to do it. Well, so my wife is, but I enjoy it, so so I guess I'll do both. She does her thing, and actually we don't work on the same project together. I discovered many years ago that's not a viable option. That just does not kind of work. It was one of those things I discovered that we could either be, you know, married or business partners, and I went with married. You'd be the same way. Yeah, it's just, you know, because it's one of those things kind of like when we tried, it's sort of like, okay, so you remember how you were gonna like do that texture for me, you know, a week ago? You know, she's like, yeah, I'll get to it. It's kind of like, yeah, we're kind of past the get to it moment, right? So yeah, it was, you know, I either have to be like the jerk boss that says, you know, we need this now, or, you know, do it or you're gone, right? And yeah, where am I going to send her to? You know, go home. Oh wait, we're already there. So, but yeah, she actually does it professionally. She's a fantastic artist herself. But yeah, she does Photoshop. She hasn't played. I think she toyed with Substance. I don't think she's really done it much. Me personally, I'm Photoshop and 3D Coat because I'm cheap. And, you know, and 3D Coat was relatively inexpensive comparatively. And 3D Coat is sort of like the lesser ZBrush. But I really like 3D Coat. Also because I'm really old, and basically I do my modeling in an ancient program called Lightwave. There you go. Right on cue. I started using Lightwave back in like 96. So, oh God. Yeah. So yeah, I've been using Lightwave since 96, and I actually animated in it back in the day. I was in LA back in like beginning of 2000, and yeah, I actually animated some TV show stuff, characters, believe it or not, in Lightwave. But obviously not anymore. All animation stuff nowadays I do in Maya, but I still go back to Lightwave for my modeling because, you know, I've been doing it for a million years. I'm comfortable in it, and I'm too cheap to buy Modo or to learn to properly model in Maya because I'm just too stubborn. So yeah, I do bust out Lightwave for that purpose, which unfortunately, tragically, I think just very recently, as in just a matter of a few weeks ago, I think it's officially gone bye-bye. I know most people that have any knowledge of Lightwave assume that it's been gone long before that, but no, technically they actually had an update about a year ago. I think they had a 2019, maybe even a 2020 update, but it was actually sold to another company called VisArt, and I think they've pretty much gutted it. I don't think there's any team members left working on Lightwave anymore. So technically it's not dead because they haven't announced that, oh yeah, we're shutting it down. And I think you can probably still buy a copy, but if you have a problem, you're not going to get any help since the entire crew that does support is no longer employed there. But anyways, I'm just dating myself. All right, so I want to do a nice little contrast here. Kind of punch this forward. I don't want to go too far because what I'm going to do here in a second is his line is,
"Here, you are a resilient."
So what I want to do is just kind of have him come into this initial kind of leaning forward pose, and then sort of go into a big point, right, with that same hand. So I'm not going to push the hand too far forward. So let's do like so. Yeah. Oh, I forgot my music. Let me turn that back on. Since I was showing the little scene from before, get my background music playing again. There you go. And I want that to keep going forward, so let me just copy paste here so I can keep it the same point. Alright, I'm just kind of roughing this out, and then I'll play it here in a second, and we'll see how far off I am. Oops, do not want to rotate in 3D, just on the Z.
Look who's here!
Yeah, that's
Look!
Also, we got weird motion going on fingers, so there's a lot of stuff wrong right now. Alright, so let's do that.
Look who's here! Look!
Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is start these guys downward here. Like so. Like that. Just to sort of prep it for when he goes into the clinch fist.
Look who's here!
That's better.
Look!
I think I want to drop the hand back, sort of like an anticipation for going forward. I think right now it's just kind of looking a little funky here. Yeah. Like so.
Look who's here!
Okay, I think I want to. What I have is this nice little jut motion
Look
with
who's
this
here!
hand there.
Look who's here!
I think I want to kind of mirror that, not tween it, but mirror it at least a little bit. Maybe just have it kind of dip down like that. That should be okay. Let's see. Yeah, let me just keep the rotation so I won't copy the frames over. Down. Too much. See how that looks.
Look who's here!
Yeah, that's okay.
Look who's here!
So it's been a challenge. I've been, like I said, I've been doing this kind of animation stuff for a couple of decades, but in 3D. So I've done very, very little animation in 2D. And it's funny how I didn't take a lot of the stuff to mind before I started doing this. So it's been an interesting learning curve to sort of adjust my 3D knowledge and sort of like translate that into 2D.
Look who's here!
And 2D performance kind of stuff. Alright, so I think I can hold it there. I'm going to go 4 frames, and then now what I have is just a little bit of a come back, and then he's going to go into the point motion. Grab some dinner, though. Dark Zone, yeah, man. Thank you so much for the raid, buddy. I appreciate you coming by and saying hello. Thank you so much, man. Have a good dinner. Thanks, man. You as well. Thank you. Alright. So, I'm not sure if this is going to be too soon. I guess I can do a bigger build-up on the anticipation. Because you see the here. So, I think it's going to be too soon for him to launch forward. So, I may just have this kind of go backward like so. And backwards again. I'm going to compress my frame range here. Get that a little closer. Alright, let's see what that does. Oh, and you can see the pelvis here. I'm just going to move that out of the way for the time being. Because I didn't actually constrain it like I should have when I rigged it. And I was too lazy to actually go back and fix it, so now it just sort of floats, and I have to animate it piece by piece. So for the time being, I'm going to just move it the heck out of the way so it's not throwing me off. It looks painful, but trust me, he feels nothing, so it's okay. Alright, kind of settled to there. Yeah, I think that's gonna be good. So it's just a wind up and pitch. He's doing here. And then he's gonna start to lunge forward. Whoops. Yeah, what did I do? There he goes. Like that. I think I really want to push. Yeah, I'm gonna see how far I can go with this, because I really want to sort of like emphasize the U. All right. Grab that guy, like that. All right, so we're gonna have this, since I really want the torso to kind of come forward with the counter rotation for the upper torso, like so. Yeah, so I want him to rise up, but I also want him to stay down low, because he's focused on the triple here, so I want him to sort of like kind of be like, yeah, it might be too much.
You.
Let's see. Let me space this pelvis out one more. See how it looks in context here. See if I'm in the right direction.
You.
Yeah, okay, that's gonna be good.
You.
Yeah. And then just gonna make the head counter rotate, because right now he's kind of going way up in the air. So let's do that. Yeah. Like so. Alright, and where's my anticipation? It's here. Yeah. So I want 156. I want to get the head motion to match here. Alright, and then here what I'm going to do is actually cheat the head down a little bit. And back. There you go. Just coiling, so when he lunges for the U motion, just has more emphasis. Then I'll copy these keys. Like that. Yeah. And then let's bring the neck forward a little bit. Keep the eyes focused. See if we can come forward without that breaking. See if that works. Yeah, I think the head's coming up too fast here. And I think what I may do is actually have a does a U, so maybe have the head raise up just a little bit and then return focus and make total eye contact with eye contact. How does it make eye contact with a tribble when there's no eyes? I don't know. I mean, has anyone ever shaved the fur off of a tribble and see if there's eyes underneath there? So if I quit the game, I have to advance to where I was before again. Yes, you do right now. If I get a lot of feedback and people hate that, then I may do something. I thought about that originally. I thought about maybe just making you return to the base of that environment. So if you're like 2 levels in on the canyon and you go away and come back, maybe let you pick up at the first level of the canyon, so that way you don't have to go all the way back in the game. Offer your thoughts on there, man. Lucini, if that's really bugging you, let me know. Excuse me, as I said, it was sort of my way of sort of like extending the length of the game, but so it didn't feel good to play the starting levels again. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to implement. It's not an issue of technical difficulty, right? It was more of a aesthetic choice to try and make the game sort of like you beating it all in one session. But yep. Part of my difficulty too is after playing the game, it irked me too. Okay. Oh, okay. There you go. There's 3 right there. Okay, guys, you win. You know, and then I mean, part of it for me too is because I playing the game as long as I have, right? It's not as much of a challenge for me to walk through very extreme parts of the game, right? So for me, I'm looking at it as like, well, I'm breezing through here, but even excuse me, even in one sit-down session, the game still takes literally over an hour to complete, right? There are 2 modes, so one could be the story with the save system, and the other one without, right? Okay, yeah. Okay, so very good, Lucini, very good point. So casual, and I did think about this too. I originally toyed with the idea, but I dropped it. But obviously, after you guys are insisting, I see it. So casual, the casual mode, more challenging and finish the story. Exactly. Okay. So casual mode, I will let it ratchet up, right? But tell me that, at least that part. Tell me if you're cool with the idea of, let's say, if you're made it into the canyon, right? So you go finish the underground, make it in the canyon, right? And you're at like the 3rd level of the canyon, but if you go away and come back, can I start you at the 1st level of the canyon, right? So you're still coming back a couple levels, right? But you're not, you know, you're not having to start all the way over again. And doing all levels, you could buy upgrades so that casual players can finish harder levels too. Yeah, that would be nice. Cool. Yeah, and you're right. Yeah, excuse me, I didn't think about that. I guess it's a way that you could sort of game the system. If you intentionally quit and come back in, and you get to start and then earn more credits to gems to cash in. Okay, yeah, you win. You guys totally win. I will make that adjustment, and I was planning on doing an update anyways with the animated cutscene, which, let's see, Lucina, did you get to see that, or did you come in? Yeah, you came in early, so you did see the new finished cutscene. I never used the upgrades, only to test them. They do come in handy in the first. Okay, I'll tell you how I play the game, my own game. Traditionally, what I do is I never use upgrades, either the shields or the sonic attack, for the first 2 environments. For the underground and the canyon levels, they can be if you get in trouble, but traditionally my approach is that I stock up on all the gems until I get to the 3rd level. When you start dealing with the ape and the challenges there, you know, but especially in the spaceship, right, where it sort of shifts from being just a pure arcade game to the ape was scary. See, and that's where you start wanting to be able to stock up, right? So what I do is I kind of like just hoard as many gems as I can, and then use them sparingly, as little as I can, so that way I can have enough power-ups for each of those levels in the last couple of sections. I mean, the ape and in particular the boss levels, right? No bugs, by the way. At least I didn't notice anything. Awesome, cool. Well, that's what I'm most concerned about, is the ape and the red shirt alien cat. This is the captain, of course, but the red shirt that chases you, the security officer that chases you in the spaceship stuff. Those are the ones that I'm concerned about potential bugs. Those are ones that are much more complex, obviously, because with glommers, they literally just charge you, right? And then they return to their point, right? So there's nowhere for them to really break, to be honest. Same with the sandworms. They're pretty much just a back and forth kind of thing. They can feel weird. Sometimes I feel like I shouldn't have hit, and it did. Okay. Do you remember what enemy in particular? I try and be generous with the hitbox for the player side. You know, if anything, I want it to feel a little more helpful than punishing. Now, the only thing that could feel, and this is a challenge because of the sandworms, is because they're animating, like, you know, and they're running across the screen, they're going like that. I animate the hitboxes, right? And then there's sometimes where when it'll hit and it'll go into the animation, right? So if he's here and then he strikes the tribble, then what it'll do is it'll play the animation, and which has an anticipation, because I'm an animator, I put anticipation in there. So he backs up and does the, this move, right? By going roar. So there's a moment where if the tribble gets hit, it feels like the sandworm kind of pulls away and then grabs you and bites you, right? Which can feel like, if you only don't register the actual contact, but only register that animation playing, it can sometimes feel like, wait, he didn't hit me. That kind of sucks. Sometimes the hitboxes feel good, sometimes not. I don't know if it's just me. Hitbox is always a tricky thing, because I've always gotten some people that, feel like, it's like it's there, it's not there. There were definitely cases before where if you have the lava beds, right, and if you get too close, it would register a hit here, even though you weren't actually making contact, right? But now I've revised all that and done everything in my power to make sure that you never get tagged for an invalid contact, right? Take damage when you shouldn't. That's the key thing. Like we were talking about before too. Remember when you came back from the bonus room and you took a damage hit, right? Which is like, wait a second, I was not, I just returning. So I made sure all those went away. So now that you're playing the full game and not that old outdated demo, which, by the way, Lucchini, thank you for that suggestion, by the way. You told me to pull the demo down off of the Steam page, and I did, and that was a smart move. I never thought about the fact that people would grab the demo thinking that that's the thing that I was pointing them to versus the full test version. Don't complain about the hitboxes. The only thing I noticed, everything being narrow. No, dude, you're not the only one, because there was a gentleman that where was he, in Portugal, who did a YouTube video of the gameplay a couple days ago, right? And I got really excited, but then I suddenly discovered that he was playing the demo version, right? Because it was like it did something weird that it's like, wait, why did it? And it just dawned on me. It's like, crap, he's playing the wrong one. So, and part of that, I think I will put some of the blame on Steam, because the playtest, right? 200 IQ. Let me bring this up for a second. Yeah, so if we come to the page, right? So yeah, the demo was on top, right? So if you come to the page, you just pretty much go, okay, I want to click on whatever's here, right? Which is right at the top. And then you have add it to your wish list, right? And then finally you have down here, join the Tribble playtest, request access, right? It was glowing green. Yeah, you're exactly right. It has a big, hey, try out the demo right now. Excuse me. Yeah, it screams, click on me. You're absolutely right. And you see, this is sort of like hidden below the wish list, right? Because the wish list doesn't get you anything. It just gets you added to a list. You're not getting access to the game, right? So the playtest, I think, should be higher and should be much more high profile. And the terminology they use is just completely baffling. Request access, and you'll be notified when the developer is ready for more participants. Request access. So playtest actually has two modes. You can either do it. You weren't supposed to see that. Yeah. On the demo version. Trust me, I have a couple more hours playing it before I actually upload it to Steam. I got, I have no idea how many thousands of hours I've played it. But anyways, so playtest, you can do a thing where people can request it, and then I can authorize X amount of people from that list. So if 200 people request it, I can say 50 can go try it now, right? Or you can open the floodgates. And quite honestly, at this point, I want as many testers as I can, so I open the floodgates. So this text should reflect that. This text should say, hey, this is looking for playtesters. Click this button right now, and you'll get instant access. That would be much more inviting. But having said that, in fairness, this is still beta, right? This is still, playtest is a beta thing for Steam. So I'm still very happy to have this. This is, to me, this is the perfect crossover between beta keys and early access, right? Early access is scary because you tend to get roasted by people that don't accept that it's still a game in development, right? And then also it has the connotation of so many people that, you know, takes all this money and then never finishes the game and abandons it, right? So playtest, I think, is absolutely a fantastic middle because you get to play it. When I release the game, the playtest goes away, and then you have the opportunity of just not playing anymore or actually buying the game, right? So it's great. It's beta, and it needs to get revised. So I do plan on offering Steam feedback to say, hey, the terminology here would be better if we could either customize it ourselves or at least have some kind of denotation that if I click on this, I get to play it right now. And also, move it the hell up. Don't put it here. Don't bury it on the bottom, right? Put it up here. Did you play the game on your phone for playtesting? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I actually have an old Nexus 6. That was my previous phone because I buy cheap phones, which was my number one phone up until, about less than a year ago. And the frame rate is still playing really well. What did it feel like? It actually, because that was originally what I was designing it for. So originally all my testing was non-joystick. It was touch. And because I've done so many mobile games, I think I have a better sense of how to pull it off. But the left half of the screen on the Nexus line, cheap but felt nice. Yeah, you're so right, man. Let's see. Do I still have it? Yeah, there we go. There's the old Nexus, right? And how's this? Look at this. Okay, here's the old Nexus. Still, you know, drained the batteries, of course, but check out my case. Oh, yeah. Can you say nerd? So there you go. There's the old Nexus. So I tend to hold on to all of my old devices just for that same purpose, so I can see how far back. Hit him with the OG. Hey, this bad boy right here, that got me through college, man. I played the crap out of that, which I know dates me. I understand. Hey, it's just Medi. Welcome. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. It's Mr. True. Yes, that is my fallback career. If all this goes kaput, if I get no more animation jobs and the game stuff falls apart, I will definitely become an official full-time impersonator. But not yet. So anyways, just to answer the question though, so the left half of the screen, anywhere you touch allows you to move left and right, right? So it's not like a lot of games on mobile will have a joystick, virtual joystick button, but if you slide off of it, then you don't move anymore, right? Mine, and you have to make sure that you always come back to it. Mine, wherever you touch over here, that is exactly where the joystick begins in the center. So it's easier to drag left and right. Do you write to Steam so they can change it in the future? Yeah, you can offer feedback. As a developer using Steam, I can actually email them. There's just a whole email section where I can just send it off and just say, hey guys, here's my thoughts. I love playtest. Thank you so much for doing this, but here's a couple thoughts, right? In the same way that you guys are offering feedback to me, right? Kind of going, hey, the game is fun, but that going back to the beginning thing really pissing me off. So, you know. So yeah, I don't know if they'll be love it, but when there you go. Yeah, Alex was nice. Alex was a nice little crumb. You know, as a VR user, that game scared the hell out of me a couple times, which is good because I don't scare easily. I had a good couple of jump scares in there, but ain't enough. Where's 3? You know. Yeah, exactly. Well, hopefully now that they have Alex under the belt, hopefully they actually will pony up and do a 3, but I'm not optimistic. We'll see, but yeah, I just don't know. All right, so we got this.
Look who's here!
Never what? How could you never play Half-Life? Yeah, I mean, especially oh no, dude. Now that they have Black Mesa, if you heard about Black Mesa, see, I'm all about single player games. I love the single player, but so I mean, the biggest dig on Half-Life is the fact that it's, you know, what, 63 years old now, right? So it looks dated, but these guys actually did a full-on beautiful update, right? So they've just revamped the crap out of it. So if you've never played Half-Life, Black Mesa is the answer. Alex, was one of my favorite VR experiences. Yeah, that was incredibly engrossing, right? My only complaint about Alex so far, which is sad because that indicates the fact that I have not beaten Alex yet. I've played it, but I haven't finished the game. But sometimes the whole multi-step process of reloading a gun, you know, especially when you have your controllers and you're having to try and grab and then like reload it like that, at least me, I tend to bang, you know, banging my controllers together. I keep waiting for him just like to hear this nasty crack, right, where I'm just like screwing up and then hear the plastic breaking. You know, I mean, it is an immersive thing, and it is kind of fun doing that. But you know, when you have a creature that's almost on top of you, and you're trying to reload as fast as you can, and yeah, that's when stuff goes boom. You know, and for me, doubly too, because I tend to play in my living room where I have more room, right? And I'm chasing creatures, and suddenly I feel a creature go up against my leg, and I realize that it's Penny. So that is the definition of immersiveness. The fact that it's actually... Wait, something's physically touching me now. Anyway.
Look who's here.
Trying to get me to play single player is a battle already lost. Fair enough. I have not played Witcher. I've not played Fallout, and I've not played Skyrim either. Own them. I think I own Witcher, Fallout, and Skyrim, but about it. Yeah, just multiplayer kind of thing. I like it just because, you know, I guess because I came from the generation that's all there was, you know, single player experiences, you know, especially in arcade games, you know, for the most part. And then, I mean, the ones that have immersive stories, right, that take you from A to B, right? I love that kind of thing. And I'm sure I mentioned this before, but I got into multiplayer at one point a million years ago with Microsoft's game called Midtown Madness, which was a driving game, right? And I played it way too much, and I literally got so good that I kept getting kicked out of multiplayer games because everyone thought I was cheating. And it's just, no, I just played it too damn much, right? And that was sort of the last time, right? I realized, number one, I was pissed because it's not my fault that I'm playing well, right? I'm not cheating, right? You can tell the ones that cheat because they're the ones that drive in a car where the wheels have literally fallen off, yet they're still going 200 miles an hour. Those guys are cheating. But, and then I also was doing the math on how much time I was spending doing that. Yeah, we're talking like just right after college years, so. I got kicked out of my favorite Counter-Strike server because they thought I was cheating. That does suck, man. I mean, you feel like putting a camera over your head and just demonstrating the fact, look, no cheats installed. You see, I'm playing this for real. I'm just that good. You know?
Who's here?
Alright. So, let's start going into the U. Like that. Okay. I should work a little bit, right? But Lucchini, yeah, and all you other guys, definitely thank you so much for the feedback. The feedback is so crucial right now, right? So, I mean, I love hearing, you know, yeah, the game doesn't suck. That's always fun. That's really nice that you're enjoying it. But, I mean, the hitbox stuff, I'm not sure, you know, I guess the complication there, where did you learn Unity? I don't know if I asked before, but have you ever done any Udemy courses? I didn't. There was actually another company that was pre-Udemy. I think it was called like 3 Design or Design 7 or something like that. That I got a couple of their videos, just to sort of start the ball rolling. But mostly, because I've been using Unity for since 2008, right? So for me, it was mainly just cribbaging like everything else that was out there, right? So I would have an idea of something I would like to do, and then I would find someone else that had already done it, right? And by taking that code and sort of like melding it with my own, in that process, I kind of inadvertently kind of learned what I was doing. Never really took classes, but I tinkered before, with like basic language and stuff like that. And because Unity originally had UnityScript, which was a derivative of JavaScript, and because I'd worked with a previous game engine that used Lua, which was, for me, they were good stepping stones. So I went from basic to Lua, from Lua to JavaScript, and then when Unity dumped JavaScript to C#. But, each one of those languages were a challenge when I first jumped into them, but because I had the history of the previous language, they were easier to sort of shift into, right? So, and then with C#, the thing about that was a lot of the plugins weren't written for UnityScript, just for performance issues, right? So I had to figure out how to connect the UnityScript, JavaScript to the C# code and the scripts. And in that process, I picked up enough C# that I was able to make the shift over, So I think there's some fine Udemy classes out there. I don't know per se. That makes sense. Yeah, so for me, it was just an evolutionary process, and that was one that happened over like an 8-year process, an 8-year timeline, right? So it's not like it happened overnight. It was, if you look at the first game, I didn't even know about mod, right? The mathematical term mod. I was literally taking a number, dividing it by 10, taking the number, dividing by 10, taking the number, dividing by 10 until I run out, right? That was how ignorant I was in so much of this stuff. And even now, right, when I show my code, right, which is always embarrassing by anyone that really knows what they're doing, right, I still get people chiming in occasionally saying, you could just do this, right? Oh, perfect example. If we come up here, right, serialized field. I didn't even know that existed, right? That was only about a year, maybe a year and a half ago that somebody said, you could use that instead, right? And I had to understand how that worked, and it's like, oh my God, that's so much nicer than just doing as public variables that expose it when I don't want it to be public, right? So yeah, my point is the fact that even though I've been doing this for a decade now, because I've never been properly trained, it's fun that I will still make discoveries or have people lecture me on how I could be doing it better, So, my goal is to not have to do this. My goal is to have one of these games do well enough that I can expand the crew, and let the people that know what the hell they're doing do it, so it's number one, better, and number two, a lot faster, right? Because doing this stuff solo is a time sink. Absolute time sink. Alright, so let me go ahead and copy these guys like so. Alright.
Yeah.
But I really do enjoy it, man. It's cut in big time into my game playing time, but I've said it before, to me, making video games is sort of like the most drawn out, sometimes boring puzzle game you will ever get into, because you frequently have things that break, and then you have to figure out both the same in a way. It is, these are like logic puzzles, kind of drawn out, because when something doesn't work, right, and you have to try and figure out, is this your fault, or is there something with the code that's not working here, right? Is there something with the game engine, right? And there have been instances, right, and those are always really frustrating, because for someone that really doesn't have proper training, there'll be a situation where I'll look at something and I'll pull my code apart 12 ways to Sunday, only discover that, oh no, it was never your fault to begin with, right? A perfect example was recently. I was no. Bye-bye. Okay. Did I just mess that up? Save file. There he goes. Oh god, a whole bunch of them, right? I get rid of one, 5 more pop up. Look at that. Alright, let's just do this here. Block. The block hammer comes out big time. Bye-bye. And bye-bye. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I was hitting the wrong thing. I haven't had this in a while, so I forgot the simple way to do that. There it goes. Cleaning the house. Throwing the band hammer down. Yeah, no. Anyways. See, and I just completely lost my train of thought there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, just talking about the game dev stuff, and just it's, you know, it really is a fun process. Oh yeah, that's what I was. Recently I had that, right, where I was having, you know, as I talked about, right, the ape and the red shirt alien cat doing some funky behaviors, right, and then a definite cause. Yeah, I know, it's a pain in the butt, isn't it? But, like, if you pause the game, right? If you hit the escape button, you get the pause menu up. Or if you're using a joystick, if you hit the menu button, and you would come back, it could break them. And for the life of me, I ripped my code apart 12 ways to Sunday, and I could not figure out what the hell I did wrong, right? I mean, the code is there, it's working nicely, and then it dawned on me, I finally stumbled across it. I've totally forgotten that coroutines, if you hide an object, if you tuck them away, right? Engines don't like, well, in this case, it was coroutines, because the simplest way I was doing it was, rather than try and pause all the motions, right, was to hide them, right? Yeah. So, when you hide an object, any coroutine that's currently running gets nuked. So when the object returns, that coroutine goes away. So if it did a monitoring thing going, you know, hey, he's climbing the vine, right? And then it says, we're waiting for the climb to finish, right? When he comes back, he's just going to start moving, right? And just like walk right off the edge of the screen. So that was a fun discovery to go, oh, hell, that's why, right? You know, and I finally found a workaround. I forgot about the fact that there's a time feature, right? You know, you could just set time to 0 and it freezes everything. So for a pause menu, that's fine because you can still let the person go through selections, right? But that way it just makes everyone kind of freeze for a moment. And then when you stop it or unstop it, then it goes right back. So that's a simple way. But anyways, the roundabout point was the fact that even after, well over a decade worth of doing this now, well over a decade, I still go, oh crap, okay, you know, not as much, you know, because in the beginning, you know, my wife can attest to the fact that when I first started doing the game dev stuff, man, I was inventing swear words, right? You know, just spewing so much that the dog was hiding, right? You know, I was like that pissed. So those instances are rare these days, but they still come up occasionally. Regarding Twitch and reporting, and reported the channel twice, and 2 weeks later it was still there. It was finally gone. Received hundreds of follows and a few subscriptions. See, that's evil. That sucks. Well, I mean, you know, Twitch is a small company, right? I think it's just like a 3-person company working out of a garage. It's not like they got bought and they're owned by a massive conglomerate, right? Oh wait. yeah, that's kind of sad. Yeah. And YouTube, right? Okay, if we're gonna do YouTube bashing, right? So I take all the videos that I do here, right, and I shift them over to YouTube over time because these videos on Twitch go away, right? So I do that, and I get these spams all the time where they put like some porn link on there. right? And you have to go, no, this is naughty stuff, make this go away, right? And what kills me is the fact that they all post the exact same URL, right? And it's like, why doesn't YouTube just kind of go, oh yeah, let's just go ahead and not let them do that. At least make them have to make like a cryptic version of the URL and earn that spam, right? It's not that difficult to notice 100% of the time when that link comes up that that's a porn site. You know, it's kind of like, oh, are you trying to report porn? Yes, how do you not know this? Right? I mean, literally, I do it in a batch. I just let them kind of stack up after a couple of weeks, and I'll transfer them all over, and at least a couple of them get hit with that little porn link. And it's like, guys, come on, seriously?
You!
Reporting is just as bad. Yeah, I was angry at how bad the reporting system is. Report it, and it takes weeks for you to get a message that says something. Not right. Yeah. Well, and I mean, and it works multiple ways too. I mean, you saw was it Terraria that was coming to the Switch, but then when they got blocked, they were like, yeah, we're not developing anymore. I'm misremembering the story, but I think it was Google that shut them down without explanation. Oh, Stadia. There you go. Stadia. That's right, because Google. I couldn't understand the connection there. Stadia. And they're going, yeah, we got our Google account banned. Do you know why? No, we don't either. We have no clue why, but, excuse me, yeah. But yeah, so if our mail isn't good enough, if you know, we're not good enough, then guess what? Our game isn't good enough. So guess what? Not coming to Stadia anymore. No, yeah. Right. They did that, and then guess what? They went, oh, wait, we're going to put it back. And I haven't seen anything in the articles. You can tell me if you've seen it, Lucchini, if they were able to at least get a response on why they got banned in the first place. Because that was a huge Google mishap. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it was a double win for him because Stadia is going to give them an extra, 8, 9, 10 sales? Sorry, did I just bag on Stadia? Oh, well, there goes my chance of putting triples on Stadia. Oh, well. You know, but in the process, they got boosted too. So they had massive amounts of new sales, I'm sure, on other platforms. Anyways, said to someone, hey, can we please talk? Once they not going to develop for him. Yeah, and I mean, it sucks that they had to go that far too, right? You know, and I'm sure they did like a mea culpa going, oh, you know, and I'm sure that it just, they flipped the switch and it came back on and they have no explanation or justification of why they got banned or unbanned, right? And it's just kind of like, yeah, we're good now. I mean, I'm hoping they used their power, right? You know, to at least get out of them. Why did you ban us in the first place? Because I mean, that's always a fear of mine too. Because I mean, you know, I mean, if you do terrible things, if you say terrible things, if you do terrible things, totally get that, right? But if you're just doing like I'm doing here, not, you know, you're trying to keep it as PG as humanly possible, and then suddenly one day you just wake up and your account's gone, right? With no explanation and no recourse. That's scary as hell. Yeah, trying to save face. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, so it's resolved now, right? No. Yeah, and only because that was an extreme case did he even have a chance to try and get any kind of insight there. You know, that's just infuriating, but, you know. But then I turned around and bashed Stadia, so that was stupid on my part, so. Oh well. Google's gonna hate me. Yeah, it did not reflect well on them for sure, right? I mean, and the Stadia people, I'm sure, were kind of going, wait, but that's a totally different department. That's not us. I'm sorry. Yes, we have the same parent, but come on, we're different. Love us, please. Yeah, yeah. The idea was there, right? You know, but you know, the abandoning their own titles. I mean, especially ones, and then like shutting down ones that were out but still needed a couple revisions, and it's kind of like tough. That's just the way it is now. It stays that way. That's brutal. So he's gonna do this little bit right here. He's gonna go into point. See if that looks okay.
Who's here? You.
Yeah, that's gonna work. Like so.
Look who's.
It is Welcome to the Astral Plane by Popsky. One of the few systems that allows you to play the music and not get your audio banned on rebroadcast. Welcome to the Astral Plane. Welcome to the Astral Plane. That's pretty. I mean, it's a massive collection, and some of them are fantastic. Some of them, but that was fun.
Who's here? You.
Yeah, I'm sure there's tons that are like me that are doing the stream that just use Popsky's music, because he was gracious enough to just say, here, use it. If you want to throw me money, that'd be nice. Which is very generous of him for sure. Tuck like that so I can have it kind of shoot out like that.
Here. You.
Ooh, that's too slow. Might have to do an earlier keyframe there.
You.
Yeah. So I think what I'll do is just go across everyone here. Speed that up by a frame.
You.
Yeah.
You.
That's gonna work better. And I never finished animating the head here, did I? Like so. Like that. You could do your own animation series with the 2D stuff. I could, but it's just... You see how time consuming it is, right?
Who's here?
You. Yeah, so the next game I'm doing... Yeah. So the next game I'm doing, which I swear I will reveal at some point in the hopefully not too distant future. Let me get this one out the door first. But point-and-click adventure game. My intention is to, and this is sacrilege for a character animator to say this, but I'm actually going to be using a lot of motion capture. I have my own rig, and it won't be just use the motion capture and done. It'll be use the motion capture and modify and clean up the animation and improve. But that's the only way that I can make that content on a budget, right? So I mean, that's going to be my approach to the next one. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. I would love to do more of this, especially with Spine, so I'd have a lot more control and fancy stuff. But you know, it is a bit of a time sink, you know, as I've demonstrated here. All right, so it starts out at 4. You just let that do a settle. Not that much. True. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason there's a lot of names when you see, like, movies or even TV shows. Well, in movies, actually TV shows don't show credits. I've virtually never got my name on the credits of any TV show I've ever worked on over the last 20 years. You know what? I've never got my name on a TV show that I've animated on. They do credits. Yeah, but... normally they'll only list the visual effects company and maybe like the producer, and then that's the extent of it. You know, that's extremely rare that you'll ever see a list of names. Yep. And even on the feature credits, right? And this is a joke, like Barger in the background too. Yeah, exactly. Well, because they're union, right? Because they're SAG, right? So that will go. And that's the joke I always made over the years, is the fact that when you watch the credits in movies, right, you get to see directed by, starring, and then you'll see producers, and then you'll see, you know, like all this kind of stuff, and then you see best boy, worst boy, catering, the director's dog, 12 people that wandered on the set, and then you'll see visual effects by you know, yeah, all these, and then the fonts are like this, right? You know, for all the main people, and then they get to the VFX, and it's just like, right? You know, in this space this big, there's 487 people's names, and they go like that. Yep, been there. But that's fine.
Who's here? You.
I don't mind being invisible. At least relatively so.
You.
We got an A, B, and C, and then done. Yeah, other. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, that's pretty much the way it feels. Alright, I'm going to wrap up here in just a minute. Get a little more of this going. I'll just get the pointing action going, and then I will call it a day. Let Penny do her cameo, of course, which, wow, it is 13 after 3, and she is not outside the door. She's completely forgotten how to tell time today, hasn't she? Uh-oh. Alright, let's go like that. And I'll get lazy and just zero out the values. There. So I can get that finger pointing correctly. Penny should be here shortly. So we'll go with this one. Oops. Bring that down. So now I can actually see where I'm pointing and see that I'm off a little bit. Alright, I gotta buffer this side a little bit. See how that's working.
Who's here? You are.
Yeah.
Here. You are. Here. You.
The hand, the left hand is hitting early. Oh, because I ran out of keyframes there, didn't I? There it is. Do this one. Do it for the settle. That should be better.
Who's here? You are.
That's okay.
Here. You are.
It's still coming a little early. Let's see if that's better.
Here. You are.
Yeah.
Here.
I'm not liking the right
You
arm.
are.
That motion's kind of crap right now. Let's try this. If he comes up, kind of an indignant motion here. Like so. Yeah, that elbow's gonna look kind of funky here, but yeah, this may not work. Nah, I may hate this.
Who's here? You are.
Oh no, okay.
Here.
I need a little
You
more
are.
settle after this. But this can be coming up here.
You are.
Overshoot and recover, I think, there. And that should make that pretty.
Look who's here. You are.
Oh, but no, actually there's a weird jerk motion here. Close, but no. Let's see.
Look who's here. You.
Nah, that's wrong. Right here.
Who's here? You are.
Yep, there it is. Control S. That's it. Alright. I'll do it one more time. For those that may have just come around that were seeing this on Friday, go ahead and mute the music one more time. So this was the finished version of the second cutscene. Do that one last time. Turn the audio back on. Maybe. Oh, there's a dog out there now.
The last piece of equipment is now on board, sir.
Terrific. Good riddance to that whole planet.
And
squint.
the Tribble's back as well.
What?
It's back.
No.
Button.
Yes.
No! Lock the ship down!
Sir, it's just a Tribble.
Do it! Security, go floor to floor until you
Use my cell
find
phone.
and vaporize that mangy furball!
We've all been there. If you've ever had a job and you've ever had a boss, which is pretty much all of us, that's the look you give, right? When the boss is just being too stupid, you just go, there you go. Try to tell you. There you go, dummy. So, anyways, so that was 2. Making decent headway on 3, of course. Getting through there. I will go back to work here in just a short while, but I will drop off for the time being. But, of course, as always, enjoy the chat. Lucini, thank you so much for coming by and saying hello and getting all chatty. And definitely you and your friends. Who else was in there? Scroll back. Yeah, let's see. Killer Tofu was visiting, right? Yeah. Also, yep, gave me some feedback as well. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for the feedback. It really is a big help. And I promise I will do that as well. I will make the fix on there. So I will make it so, at least in the casual mode, you do not get kicked all the way back to the beginning. You can pick up where you left off. Keep an eye out for the streams. Have a great one. Killer Tofu, thank you so much, man. Yeah, just to clarify. So I'm here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Basically from 2 to 3 my time, which is Pacific Standard Time. 10 p.m. GMT. And I go for about an hour. Today it's an hour 18. Just to catch up with you guys, see the latest progress. But right after this, I'm going to hunker down and get less chatty and more productive. But I'll be back on Wednesday. But until then, let's have the penny moment. Here you go. This is why you guys come, right? Nope. Oh! There it is. Yeah. No. Yes. Okay. To quote Bill Murray, I've been slimed. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go in the backyard and do it for real. Make her happy. Frisbee? Yes. Is it frisbee time? Frisbee? Frisbee? One more time? Yeah. Frisbee? Yes. Okay. That's it, guys. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you back here on Wednesday. Until then, adios.